Welcome to the second episode of the Bread and Bars podcast. Once again, I'm your host. My name is Sean, and I'm so happy to see you guys today. Let me just say this. I want to welcome you to this particular episode, to episode 2. But before I start, I want to tell everyone that tuned in to watch my podcast, everyone that shared it, everyone that commented, everyone that subscribed to the channel. I didn't even ask for a subscription. I just asked if you would watch, but I got subscriptions instead. I want to tell you that I gratefully appreciate it. I got support from people from middle school and high school, from family members, from associates, from people I really didn't expect. I mean, I shared it everywhere. I really didn't expect much. I got more than I expected. I want to thank everybody. No, I'm kidding. I'm good. No, but seriously, I want to thank everybody for subscribing, for watching, for commenting, for the congratulations that I received. You guys are awesome. You guys are dope. I'm super excited. I'm more pumped than I was when I did the first video. Still a little nervous, right? Because it's just the beginning stages, but I'm grateful, right? My ultimate goal is not just to grow a podcast or to grow a following, but my ultimate goal is to really get these messages out. So that's why I'm so grateful for you guys' support. I'm going to ask that you continue to support. I appreciate it. If you haven't shared it, share this episode. If you want to wait a couple of episodes to see what this is all about, that's fine. Listen, guys, I know for a fact, I'm just telling you now, I'm going to rattle some cages. I'm going to take some people out of their mindset, their box of thinking, because I was thrown out of my box of thinking, right? So I'm going to do the same. This episode may be the one, right? I don't know if the last episode was out of the box, but this episode may be the one. Maybe the next one, you never know. But just know that something is going to happen, or something is going to be said that one is going to shake your paradigm. It's going to shake the way you think about things. It should, right? I saw a picture where a caterpillar and a butterfly was talking, and the caterpillar was saying to the butterfly, you change. And the butterfly said, you're supposed to. Right? So we find ourselves thinking the same way we did when we were kids, or when we were 10 years ago or 5 years ago, or in our 20s and our 30s, and here we are older and we're still thinking the same way. I'm not going to judge, but listen, I want to let you guys know that you guys are valuable. Your support is valuable. The reason why is because you're valuable. And that's going to segue me into my message today, into what I want to talk about with you guys today. Now, if you see me looking off to the side, it's because I got notes, right? I got notes because I didn't want to just go off the top of the head and find myself looping, because sometimes when I get excited about things, I start saying the same things over and over in different ways. It's kind of a habit that I have, right? And I've learned to accept it as who I am, right? So once again, thank everybody for watching. Thank everybody for subscribing. Once again, I'm repeating because I'm excited. No, but I can't thank you guys enough. I can say that throughout the entire podcast episode, this day or whatever. I can't really thank you guys enough. So the title of my message today is Discovering Your Inherent Worth. Discovering your inherent worth. Now, I'm sure some of you may have seen the painting, or let's say the artwork that was created, that was sold for $13,000. You want to know what it was? It was a sculpture of an invisible box. Yeah, it was an invisible box that sold for $13,000. And the person that bought it, somebody actually bought it, got a certificate of authentication to prove that it's real. So I was having a conversation with my best friend, ChatGPT. Yep, we're friends. I was having a conversation and I said, what makes something like an invisible box, or another one that we seen was a banana taped to a wall? What makes something like that so valuable? And what I learned was, it's not the material, just like with traditional art. This is called conceptual art. So it's not the material itself. It's not the physical thing itself that makes it valuable. It's not the paint that's used. It's not the material that's used. It's not the canvas that's used. It's not the metal or the whatever the physical thing is that's used that makes it valuable, but it's the reputation of the artist that made it. And it got me to thinking that aren't we all just conceptual art of God? We are his conceptual art because what the Bible tells us that he used dirt to make us. Dirt is the most invaluable thing there ever was made, or that there is. As a matter of fact, when somebody want to talk about how worthless something is, they say it's as dirt. So we, our physical selves, are so in some circles considered worthless, but we are valuable. You are valuable because of how we're made. All right, so let me get to my notes. So once again, I don't get too excited. Once again, thank everybody for watching. So I want to talk about um something that's simple but yet elusive, seemingly elusive, as freedom or liberty. Right? Have you ever thought about how free you are or how free you would like to be? When I say free, I don't necessarily mean free like you're not in prison. But how good does it feel if you have a job? How good does it feel to know that you have a day off? A paid day off. Like you might wake up in the morning expecting that you have to go to work and you got to sit there for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever your shift is, and you got to do this work. But then what if somebody told you, "Hey, you know what? The company has decided to pay everybody and give them a day off." That feeling right there is a big feeling of freedom. You can either go back to sleep, you can go hang out with your friends, you can go wash your car, you can go running, you can do whatever you want to do. But watch this. Before you even do anything, as soon as you get that information, let me ask you a question. What changed? Physically, what changed? Did you see something different? No. Did you feel something different? No. No. Did anybody put anything in your ear other than what your boss said? No, no, no. None of that happened. But what happened is you experienced that feeling of freedom, that good feeling, that I want to call it a valuable feeling. And the reason why I want to call it valuable because it's something that people search for. People live and die for. As a matter of fact, I remember hearing this story a while ago. It's the story of the musk deer. The musk is like the scent, not the musky like you're musky, musty. The musk deer is what happens is this deer has a gland in its belly around its scrotum sac, right? And what happens is that gland produces a scent, an aroma, a musk, right? That only happens during certain times of the year, whether it be mating season or spring season. I forget which time of the year it was. It wasn't a science story. It was just a story about the musk. So what happened was the musk woke up one day and said, "Man, I remember that smell of musk, and I love that smell. I want to know where it came from." So what happened was the deer would travel all around the city where he lived, or around the let's say let's call it the city. He traveled all around the city where he was looking for that smell. Now he can smell it faintly, right? But he doesn't know exactly where it is. Like it's like you ever driving down the street and you smell gravy, you smell freshly cooked food. Your first thought is, where's that coming from? You think, oh, that's something I like. Where's that coming from? So that's kind of the feeling that this deer had. So he's going around and he's smelling everything. He's like, is that it? Is that it? He can't find it, but he smells it faintly. But then something happens and he starts to get hot because he's moving around so much. I'm paraphrasing the story, but I'm telling it my way because I like the way I tell stories. So he starts to get hot. So what happens is that gland starts to get stimulized. So as he starts to get hot and things like that, that scent gets stronger now. He smells it. He thinks he's getting closer to the smell. now because he's producing more of it. So he's looking around, he's excited now, he starts to run more. He's like, I know I'm close to it. I can smell it. It's closer. I'm closer now than I was when I was over there. So he goes around and he smells, and then he goes all the way up to the edge of this cliff, of a 50-foot cliff. He goes out and he's like, man, now watch this. He's nervous. So first he's hot and now he's nervous. So what do you think happens now that he's nervous? He's more stimulated than he was before. So now what happens is the scent gets stronger. He thinks that the scent is now at the edge of that cliff. So what does he do? Because he spent his entire day, actually several days, looking for the scent, almost without any sleep. So then what he does is, you know what? That scent is over this cliff. I think I can make it. So what happens is he jumps off the cliff and he falls. His body's broken. His legs broken. His arms broken. His neck is broken. But at the last second of his life, because his body is now broken, there's nothing withholding that scent. And he smells it. That scent covers the entire, that musk fragrance, which is an attractive fragrance, right? It covers the entire land where he lives. And at his last second of his life, you realize, oh, wait, this whole time it was coming from me. Now, what I love about that story is the fact that what he found valuable was right there inside of him the entire time. And oftentimes what we find valuable, the feelings that we search for, that we find valuable, are within us the entire time. We didn't have to go anywhere. We didn't have to outsource it. We didn't have to do any of that because everything is within us. But what happens is we're trained to do, what our ego tells us that we need to do, is outsource things to get that feeling. We might outsource relationships. We might outsource material things like cars, clothes, jewelry, right? Because those things make us feel like we look better. I remember when I was in school, once again, I'm a storyteller. When I was in school, in elementary school, whenever somebody bought a new pair of sneakers, you could not tell me that we don't run faster, right? Whether, especially if it's a name brand sneaker, if we got a pair of Nikes, man, we the fastest on the block. But if somebody had a pair of Bobos or JX30s or whatever they were called, or kangaroos or ponies, they weren't as fast as the person that was wearing Nikes, right? It was Nike, Adidas, Reeboks. Like, we had a whole hierarchy of who ran the fastest. It wasn't about how we were shaped, how we were built, or anything like that, right? I had the longest legs naturally, but I definitely wasn't the fastest. But when I had my new pair of Nikes, especially my first pair of Nikes that I recognized, man, you can't tell me I wasn't faster than everybody. Now, when I ran, let me tell you, I would get these shoes and I would chase car. I would run besides cars. You couldn't tell me I wasn't fast, right? So what happens is we outsource those feelings that are already internalized inside of us. Those feelings are valuable. Now, one thing about the musk deer is that even to this day, the ones that are still alive, the reason why I say that is because poachers, people, men, whatever, they go out and they hunt these deer for that musk so that they can make cologne, so that they can make pheromones, so they can make medicine, so they can put it in certain foods. Like, it's something that's valuable, but oftentimes we're not separate from that. We're not separate from that because things that are inside of us are more valuable than the things that are outside of us, right? There's a scripture in there. I want to see if you can figure that out. But we're not going to get into that, right? So that's the musk deer. And we're not different from that at all. Freedom is something that is inherently realized. It's not achieved. Success is something that's realized. It's not an achievement. It's not in having certain things or reaching a certain milestone. Right? Most people would think, oh, if I have $1 million, I'm successful. One thing I realized, and that used to be my goal, I want to be a billionaire. I want to be a millionaire, right? And ultimately I still do, right? I'm being honest with you. But what happens is there are billionaires out there that don't feel like they're free. There are billionaires out there that don't have joy. There are billionaires, multi-billionaire, like, watch this, Elon Musk. that let me find out he got his last name from a family who hunts deer musk. That would be interesting, right? But let's I lost my train of thought just like that. Anyway, but no, that value on the inside of us is something that we must realize, because success is a journey. There we go. Success is definitely a journey. It's not about reaching a certain plateau, because when you reach that plateau, you're not satisfied, right? But the journey itself is what makes us valuable. Somebody asked me the other day if I thought I was successful, and somehow, some way, I answered that question by saying yes. Now, do I have $1 million? No. I don't even have 100 subscribers yet, right? Do I have the dream car of my life? No. Do I live in a mansion, a 10,000 or 20,000 foot mansion? No. But I consider myself successful. Why? Because I'm on that journey. I'm in that journey. Now, let me get this straight. That journey isn't necessarily a certain distance or a certain time frame. What I mean by that journey is more so of an effort to realize what's already in me. Now, I don't have a lot of time, but I want to get into something really quick. Um, the seeing, the seeker, I should say, the seeker is actually what's sought. I got an image in my head about a lighthouse. Imagine a lighthouse. Usually, a lighthouse is in an ocean, somewhere in the middle of the ocean, in a dark place where there's no other light, right? The lighthouse is the main light. And the purpose of that lighthouse is to bring the ships in, whatever the case may be. Imagine the lighthouse had a consciousness. Imagine that consciousness said, where's that light coming from? What is the source of that light? Not realizing that we are the source of that light. Now, we recognize things in other people, right? Because life is about relationships or relative. So we think about other people and we think, man, I would love something like that. The reason why we're able to acknowledge what that person has inherently, right? We may see somebody with a what they call it je ne sais quoi. I think that's it, je ne sais quoi. Right? They have this essence, they have this anointing, they have this gift, they have this attractiveness about them, and we see them like, man, that looks nice. I wonder what that is. It's in us. The reason why we can see it in other people is because it's in us. And watch this, it gets stimulated. Every so often when we see certain things, it gets stimulated, just like with that must there. I wanna say this. I have some bars, and listen, this may not be the first part of this because I have a lot more notes that I want to get through. Um, but I want to give you this analogy of something that came to me as I was putting this together, and then I will close out with a quote. Um, if we got time, we'll have time. So one of my favorite movies is The Last Dragon. Mhm. Yeah, if you know me, you know about The Last Dragon, and you know me. So one of my favorite movies is the movie The Last Dragon, and I've watched this movie hundreds of times, easy. I watch this movie at least 2, 3 times a year, every year. So especially now that I have it on DVD, I don't even use DVDs, but it's a streaming service. I'll figure out a way to find it one way or the other. If I'm in the mood for some Bruce Leroy, I'm gonna watch it. So anyway, the reason why I say that is because the movie is about a kid named Bruce Leroy or Leroy Green, and he is a practicing karate student. And in the start of the movie, you see him doing his moves. He's flipping, he's flexing his muscles. He's in perfect shape. He's sweating. He's working out. He's doing all this other stuff, and then cuts to him in the dojo with his teacher. He's working out, and his teacher is getting ready to hit him with an arrow or shoot an arrow at him. And because of his practice, he's fighting and things like that. The arrow comes at him. He catches it. I mean, he breaks it. He breaks the arrow. He's doing his thing. He's flipping. He's hitting the board things. Bing, 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 bing. He's going at it, right? And then the trainer hits him with another one or shoots another one at him. He breaks that one. He's flipping. He's doing all these other things. Then the master hit him with another one, a third one. This time he catches it. He catches it. The master walks up to him, surprised, said, "How do you do that?" He was like, "I don't know." He said, "What? You knew without knowing? You did something without knowing why you did it?" He's like in shock. And then he rips off the little emblem that he had on his chest, right? Won't get into details. So long story short was he felt like he made a mistake, but his master was telling him, your journey with me is over. I took you as far as I can take you, because now you're realizing things without even knowing why you're realizing them. So what happens is he sends him on a journey to meet the master. So long story short, what happens is during his journey, he runs into Shonuff. You know, his brother's giving him slack. He finds a woman that he loves. He's finding all these distractions. Honestly, they're making him feel like he's not worthy. Shonuff made him feel like he's nothing because he can't fight him. But then Shonuff is getting this reputation of being better than him, and his brother's making him feel like he's not cool enough. And Miss Laura, she's making him feel nervous, like, oh, he can't, he wants her, but he can't have her. He don't know what to do with her and things like that. But ultimately, what comes down to it is he beats his enemy, right? Which is him thinking that he's flawed. Which we'll go into this later, but that's the reason why we suffer so much, is because that inherent thought that's saying that we're flawed in so many ways. When we're actually made in the image of our Creator, how can we be flawed? If He's not flawed, if our Creator isn't flawed, how could we be? Right? So what happens is he beats that, and he realizes the entire time, when he's at his worst point, when he's about to drown, he realized that the master, that thing that he was seeking, was within himself, right? He couldn't find it in beating Shonuff. He couldn't find it in getting a girl. He couldn't find it in learning how to dance. He couldn't find it in any of those things, but he learned to find it within himself. And he is the master, as his brother said at the end of the movie. So that's a short version of it. One of the things that helped me realize my worth, I'll bring it internally, was the fact that I had to learn how to accept the good and the bad of who Sean is, right? The good and listen, there's a lot of bad. There's a lot of bad. And I had to say, no, I'm not good enough for this because of this. I'm not good enough for that because of that. I'm not good enough because of this, because of where I came from. I'm not good at this because my mom said this. My brother said this. My sister said this about me. This girl that I used to want to talk to said this about me. So nah, I can't do any of that. The people I played basketball with, they didn't think I was this or I was that, so I can't do this or that. None of those things were actually true, but I made myself believe it. So we're going to go further into this with you as far as discovering your inherent worth. Like that invisible box, like that banana taped to the wall. You're valuable not because of the outward material of who you are. You're valuable because of how you were made. And everything that you need is already inside of you. The best, put it like this, the best version of you is inside of you. Now watch, some of those things may not be things that you consider lovable, but they are still valuable. We're talking about musk. Some people hate the smell of musk. They even use things like whale sperm as perfume. They use cow manure to help trees and grass grow. The manure, the waste of the cow or the livestock. You don't get worse than that, but yet it's still valuable. Once you've practiced, once you do the shadow work, you realize that the shadow work is taking the things that are part of you that are not so favorable, and you're integrating them into who you are with love and with acceptance. Now, I'm going to end with this quote from Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe said, "Tell me every terrible thing that you've ever done, and let me love you anyway." Now, I can end this by saying, hey, get in the mirror and say, I am beautiful, I am this. Get in the mirror and say that. Show me, tell me everything about you that's terrible, and let me love you anyway. That's the end of the podcast today, guys. We're probably going to finish this on the next episode, episode 3. Thank you again for watching episode 2. I appreciate and I love each and every one of you guys. If you're watching this and you haven't already done it, please subscribe, please like, please comment, please share. We want to get this message out to somebody that may need it. You may not need it because you may already know you're valuable, your value. And I appreciate you. I want to be like you when I grow up, because I'm still learning. But if you know somebody else that needs to know this, that whatever it is that they need or anything that they've yearned for is within them, send this to them. Maybe they need to know that. Maybe they're going through a breakup. Maybe they lost their job. Maybe they lost a family member, or they feel like they've lost out on life, or maybe they're sick. Whatever the case may be, share this with them if you think it would encourage them. God bless you all. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you. Until the next time, this is the Bread and Bars podcast. Be the best version of yourself. I love each and every one of you guys. Have a great day.